In what was one of the uglier games of week one, Houston and UTSA went back and forth in what ended up being more of a defensive battle than anything. And there are concerns for both sides, but there are also some positives to take away from this game. And we'll start with what was a disappointing performance from Frank Harris. Three interceptions is not something we expect from him. And some of the decisions he made were simply uncharacteristic of him. I don't think we've ever seen him struggle this much or make that many poor decisions. That he also had a ton of pressure in his face. And I think that he was just trying to do something and got really frustrated with the lack of success early. And that creates some poor decision making. And overall, it's just an ugly game. 31 total points isn't exactly the barn burner that we envisioned, and especially with the amount of talent you had returning on both sides of the ball. And it's not just UTSA. Houston's offense at times was good, but then also it was like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know what happened with this team. I don't know what happened with this. This is year five of Dana Holgorsen. You have 5 years of experience here, and you have 17 points to show for it. Now, I'm not saying that they should have blown UTSA out of the water, but you should be better than this. You're going into the Big 12, and you wonder why people think you're going to struggle this year. And I don't know. Donovan Smith at times looked pretty good. He made some throws that you're like, wow, this guy is going to be really fun to watch. But then you're also seeing some poor throws. I think also this offensive line just like, what are you doing? I just you're giving your quarterback maybe 1 second to throw. He's always running, and yes, he can run, but you'd rather him run by design and not out of necessity. And I don't, it was just really tough to watch both of these offenses. You have to maybe tip your cap to the front sevens. The defensive lines really were disruptive, and that's a big point for both teams. I think both defenses stepped up in a big way. And I think one concern I have for Houston going forward is what is the status of Chidozie Nwankwo? He went down with an injury early in the game, and UTSA attacked that right away. That was a big success for them. Kavorian Barnes gashed this team up the middle. And what does that look like for this team long term? Is he out for a while? Who's going to step up in his place? How do they make that better? And I think that they did in the second half find a way to plug that hole. And you're looking at a team that was opportunistic. They found opportunities to pick off passes. They capitalized on Frank Harris's mistakes to the tune of three interceptions. So that is something that you can tip your cap to Doug Belk. Yes, the offense wasn't doing his part, but the defense could have just folded as well. But they didn't. They found ways to be successful. They found ways to limit this UTSA rushing attack to just 101 yards. Yes, they lost the yards battle. I mean, UTSA was still able to move the ball, but at the end of the day, they were able to create turnovers, and that was the biggest difference. Three turnovers by UTSA to zero for Houston. So that was something that was really nice to see. But this is still a team that needs to get much better. And it starts with both teams. It starts with the quarterbacks. Donovan Smith, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, 31 yards rushing, no touchdowns on the ground. Frank Harris, 209 yards, 3 interceptions with 1 touchdown, 45 yards on the ground. Frank Harris, I think, also is dealing with something. I think you saw the wrap on his leg. He's dealing with some sort of injury, which he won't use as an excuse, but it's probably something that affected him. He was probably unable to move around the pocket as well as he wanted. He probably wasn't able to run as fast as he wanted as well, and that affected things. But then again, you also look at this front seven for both teams, and they were disrupted. UTSA specifically, Donovan Smith had very little time to throw, and that is a testament to how good this front seven will be for UTSA. And the AAC better be on notice because this team can play. And Trey Moore is one of those players. He didn't have maybe the biggest numbers, but he did have 2 tackles for loss and 1 sack. Houston did not have an answer for him. The other guy that was really effective was Dadrian Taylor. 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack. So this is a group that clearly made an impact on the game. They were able to disrupt what Houston wanted to do, and that really gave them opportunities. It kept them in the game, first of all, and it gave them opportunities to put more points on the board. It's just that their offense didn't exactly help them out. So I think when it's come down to it, Houston's, I don't know. I don't know what. Dana says to this team to get them motivated. I don't. It's just it seems like it's the same problem every year where it's you just don't look like you want to be there. You just don't look like you want to compete, and your team just embodies that. You just look flat coming out the gate. You play down to the level of your competition, and that's not going to help you in the Big 12. You're just going to get boat raced by everyone. And I mean, UTSA is unfortunate that they lost this game because honestly, they played like the better team for a lot of the game, and the turnovers didn't help. But Houston's lucky they're not 0-1, and they definitely need to figure things out because there's too much talent on this roster to not put points on the board, to not win football games more comfortably. And that's on Dana Holgorsen. He's got to figure that out. And if he can't figure that out, it's the reason why everyone thinks he's on the hot seat. And it's only going to get hotter if he doesn't figure things out and get his team to play better.